My brothers and sisters, the whole country is appalled at the extensive environmental degradation that has been caused by illegal small-scale mining, popularly known as Galamsey. Your own son, Ama Kofi-Boa, is formulating strategies for the implementation of our manifesto promise for dealing with this Galamsey menace. Our plan will involve the communities, including the chiefs and the youth, to take part in protecting their lands and forests and water bodies. We're not going to make it the responsibility of only the security agencies. We're going to involve the chiefs and the young people in the communities to help to protect your own lands, your forests, and your water bodies. We'll take urgent steps to halt mining activities in our forest reserves and on our rivers. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful to note that the recent cholera outbreak is abating, but I urge you, our fellow citizens, to continue to take protective action by making sure that your sources of drinking water are safe and that you take the necessary steps to avoid being attacked by cholera.
The President has issued out a directive that anyone in the forest reserves mining should vacate those spaces. We are giving them up to 2 weeks that if you are mining within the forest reserves and you don't want to be on the bad side or on the other side of the law, you have 2 weeks to vacate or to leave those spaces. Again, the other area had to do with our water bodies. So we are also giving them 2 weeks period that if you know you have any investment whatsoever and you are on the water bodies polluting them and then destroying our water bodies, you have 2 weeks to leave the space. We will send out a team to make sure we restore normalcy and restore order within the mining sector.
You had President Mahama and the Ashanti Regional Minister, who is taking the President's instructions very seriously and beginning to make some orders there. But it looks too familiar, doesn't it? We have been here over and again. Yes, I've hosted this show for over a decade. I can tell you that I have seen this too many times. I just did a quick Google search for the last few days since Mahama took over office. And you see, Lance Minister calls support of Western Region chiefs to fight Galamsey. President Mahama orders immediate arrest of whatever Galamsey people. Mahama government under pressure to sack Minerals Commission boards. Because they say that if he's there, they will not win the fight against Galamsey. I don't know how they come by that. Because of the issuance of a lot of licenses around a certain period. I'll sanction any minister involved in Galamsey. Mahama cracks down on Galamsey, orders arrest, Lance Minister calls chief support, and so on. So a lot of talk. But Kenasigbe is joining us right now. But Kofi, this talk, will it cook anything?
Talk is not cheap if you know what you're talking about. So the question is, do they know what they are talking about? I think that we have underestimated the Galamsey fight. All right? Gold is a spirit. And from time immemorial, it makes men mad. If you know the stories of the Wild West,
Kofi, say that again.
Gold is a spirit. And from time immemorial, it makes men mad. If you know the stories of the Wild West, people killed and died for gold. And go to Egypt, whatever. So when you see people risking their lives to go after this, and we think that we can just treat it as a simple law enforcement issue, that's where the problem is. So here, I wish President Mahama well. But dear President Mahama, don't take this lightly. People are prepared to kill and die over this matter. And in the process, unfortunately, look, recently I heard a story about people handling mercury with their bare hands.
Yeah.
All right? People are doing things in pursuit of this gold, which will affect them, their children, their grandchildren. All right? People don't appreciate the kind of dangers they themselves are involved in. So we should take this thing more serious than we have done so far and deal with it. Then we have also not taken recovery serious enough. We are taking stopping it as the main thing to do. It's time we start thinking, maybe we will not stop Galamsey in the next 10 years. Maybe we should have some sort of national plan to do a recovery of these lands that are polluted. Okay, but I think so far we have underestimated the fight. That's why we are not winning. We need to up that game.
But is the rhetoric also important? That we hear the president, someone within his government, so to speak, in his party, is accused, an MP, is accused of being in front of the Galamsey in the Awawim constituency. Then he says, police and those who must do whatever it is, go in there, make the necessary arrest, and so on. Is that helpful?
The rhetoric has been hollow. Look, I remember about 10 or so years ago, Newsfile and I were there, and I think around that time, they talk about drones and whatever, and I said that it won't work. Why? Why would you go and buy drones and whatever? The helicopter can do the work. See, at the end of the day, until I hear somebody say that if we find gold, if we find Galamsey in your district, the district chief executive loses his job. Yeah. And the regional minister has something to answer.
The president said this, quote, "No member of this government is to engage in any form of small-scale mining." Note that, it's not illegal. Small-scale mining or Galamsey. Any such person will face sanctions that shall be swift and severe.
That was very heartwarming to me. The last time I heard anything that was warming to my heart was when President Akufo-Addo said he was going to put his presidency on the line, and he failed abysmally. So when I heard President Mahama say this, I thought that was a step in the right direction. Dear God, let him live by his promise.
Kabir.
Galamsey is an issue. We've lost elections, we've won elections on the back of Galamsey.
God is a spirit.
We use Galamsey issues to criticize the ruling government, and we win election, and you lose election if you don't do anything about it.
I kept saying that the Mahama administration should look at Dr. Bahumia's blueprint for Galamsey. And some people didn't understand me. They should go in there and look at what exists there, including creating the common pool of facilities to help the miners, because they can't afford small-scale miners, so that you regulate them properly. Yes, go on.
Yeah, that design takes lessons from South Africa, where gold mining is taking place by small-scale miners without those of the challenges we face here.
And USA.
And the United States. So I think that it's a livelihood issue. We must find a way of protecting people's livelihood by regulating. And I found this present statement rather to be very populist. Populist in the sense that the bit about no DC should do small-scale mining. That bit, I don't think small-scale mining...
No member of the government, no DC, no member.
I don't see why a member of government cannot do small-scale mining. With the greatest respect.
If you want to do it, don't join my government.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see why an industrial member of government cannot.
We're in crisis.
Unless, of course, you are saying that let's stop small-scale mining. Let's leave the resources in the ground. Let's allow maybe posterity will come, and future generation will come and decide to do whatever. I would want us to fight it by putting in place. The Bahumia solution was not to stop small-scale mining, but was actually geared towards regulating them, ensuring that they mine sustainably, and we get the best out of
including a mining
resources.
bank.
Yes, we get the best out of the resources. Right. So I think that Galamsey, illegal mining of resources, will have to be condemned, whether by a member of government or someone outside of government. But if the government wants to say that, look, if I stop my appointees from engage in small-scale mining, maybe I'll send a signal to other members that if you do small-scale mining illegally, or if you do mining illegally, it means that I'll come hard at you. That optics is okay. But I don't see why a legitimate business of an appointee, where there are rules provided that you can do it without actually, crossing the boundary between conflict of, interest.
Are you seeing signs of commitment to
elevate or
escalate the fight?
I don't see, unfortunately, because unlike the 120 days commitment of the president, and his religious adherence to some of them, and the concrete measures the president has taken so far to ensure that he is able to fulfill, i.e. the 60 ministers I've promised the people of Ghana, the code of conduct I will give to the public office holders. The fight for Galamsey has been left without timelines, has been left without concrete steps that the Ghanaian people can go along with the president of the republic, that look, these are the steps, these are the milestones. We will meet this milestone, after this milestone, another, with clear timelines. If the president had presented to the good people of Ghana that clear time-bound or kind of strategy, I would have had every confidence that this is going to be something different. Because this statement by the president is not something different. The same statement was made by the president, Nana Akufo-Addo. I'm sure previous President Mills had also had his fair share of those commitments by way of statements. But until we get something concrete, until we are able to say that, okay, the president has promised that within one year, these are my measures, I'm going to transition every illegal miner into a scheme. And that within a month, the registration should be done by the district assemblies of every miner who is there, whether legal or illegal. We have a moratorium, or we have a respite for every single person, whether you are doing illegal or legally. We want everyone to come on board. Until the president have something of that nature, I will not have confidence in a mere statement that I would sanction. We have said this so many times.
It must be stated, though, that his 120 days social contract includes point 19, ban illegal and new mining activities in forest reserves, roll out Tree for Life and Blue Water Initiative to heal and sustainably harness the environment by turning areas and water bodies degraded by illegal mining into economic and ecological recovery hubs. Yeah. So in his 120 days social contract,
illegal mining,
he has
illegal mining, you don't need to ban it. It's illegal. You get the point. If something is illegal, how do you even come to promise the good people of that I'm going to ban something that is already illegal? You get the point I'm trying to make. So we should be looking at...
he said ban illegal and new mining activities in forest reserves.
Yeah. So maybe we should place emphasis on the new mining leases.
Right.
Okay, me, ab initio, I think it is mundane, it's mute for you to say that I'm going to ban...
something that is illegal.
That is illegal. You get the point. So these are some of the absurdity in some of these promises we sometimes make. That makes it difficult for us to even hold the government accountable.
Is it not too early?
Well, I prefer to give President Mahama the benefit of doubt. I prefer to give him enough time where the policy of the government will be ruled out. I prefer for us to hasten in criticizing the government. I prefer that we take caution.
Enough time,
trying,
6 months,
in trying to,
2 years.
I think that a government that is prepared to rule the people of Ghana half a year is enough for us to see the
outcome of that. Dr. Ken Ashigbe joins us.
Of that government.
Thank you for joining us, sir. And you and your group, the coalition against Galamsey in Ghana, you have done a number of things within this very short time, written to the president, written to the speaker. You brought the IGP in to do some arrests and so on and so forth. Where are we as far as the threat of Galamsey is concerned, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Thompson. And, well, the challenge we faced from August last year up to date has not abated. It is interesting to note that since the government came into power, even before the government came in, we saw that transitioning that happened in 2016, 2017, where the criminals in the NDC government were taken over by the criminals in the NPP government and started the illegality. I call them criminals because they engaged in an illegality. And as early as December, we saw that transition beginning, the retransition beginning to happen. And on the 20th of December, Oheminteria was attacked, in one of these instances. And that is happening. And so I agree with Honorable when he talks about the fact that we're hearing a lot of talk. But you see, the turbidity of the water has not improved. The Bonsa water treatment plant has actually been shut down. and the issues about the poisoning from heavy metals, it's continuing. So unlike corruption, where His Excellency got aura in place and they were acting, then you come to the issue of energy, where John Jinapor and his team worked on it. You come to education, where there was no food in the senior high schools, and we saw some action. All we have been hearing is a lot of talk, which is good, because at some point we wrote to the president to issue the cease and desist. But you need to accompany that rhetoric with a lot of action. And so it is important that the action, we begin to start seeing the action take place. But let me make one particular point. I disagree with the Honorable when he talks about the fact that it's not important for the president to ask that his government do not get involved in mining. One of the major reasons for the failure of the former government was because the firefighters themselves became the arsonists. Those we had put into power, to be able to regulate this particular activity were actually involved in it. I can give you two clear examples. The MPP's Ashanti Regional Chairperson was named by the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources for being involved in an illegality, of which we had a lot of evidence. When I sat on the same platform with His Excellency the President in Koforidua, and I confronted him about what he was doing about Akonta mining, because that was his Ashanti Regional Chairman, what he said to me was that he was not engaged in Galamsey as we spoke. We also saw the example of the DC for Bosomen Freo, who was also engaged in an illegality, confessed that he was engaged in an illegality. All we saw was the fact that he had been dismissed. So if you don't set the clear examples, and because, again, as my brother said about what gold is as a spirit, if you don't do that delineation, we're not going to win this fight. So it is going to be very important that His Excellency draws the line. If you want to engage in a leave government, so that when you are found, to be engaging in something that is illegal, it's easy because our politicians have demonstrated that they are not able to deal with their own. So I think that is an important thing.
You, Martin Kpebu, Kwame Sapong-Esiedu, you took a petition to the IGP over the Wontumi situation. Nothing has happened. You've given up. You're not pursuing it any further. You've now taken a new petition about the MP for Awowim, even though he has denied the claims that he's involved in mining, and now there's a counter, accusation against the chief who accused him. So,
not at all. Fortunately, yesterday we were at the police headquarters to give our statement for the Awen issue. And we also, I think it was Wednesday, I was having a chat with Martin. We are going to be going back again to the IGP, because that case, the case of Akonta mining, there was this evidence from even the Forestry Commission and all of that. So it is important that would happen. Again, His Excellency, the President, had mentioned when he was a particular statement he made, which I disagree about the clemency for all of those who had been jailed for Galamsey. Yeah. But the second part, I agree that the kingpins themselves are not being arrested. And so the president needs to demonstrate that when we mention a politically exposed person engaged in that, I am hoping that before even our petition as private citizens, His Excellency the President would take action on the issues of Wontumi. He would also take actions on those named by Professor Frimpong Boateng, because the state has the power to be able to investigate all of these things. Individuals as we are, we will struggle to be able to do that. And so it is important that in all of these situations, some action is taken. We've written to the president about the Awen MP, the speaker as well, and then IGP. I'm not too sure whether the other two have spoken to the IGP and the reason why this is beginning to take place. Action has to take place. And Samson, let me add this. When you have the Ashanti Regional Minister says that he's issuing a 2 weeks ultimatum for people who are involved in an illegality, Because he talks about mining on the water bodies and on the buffers of the water bodies. It's an illegality. It's akin to say that, some people doing armed robbery, and what you're doing is that you are giving them 2 weeks for them to continue the armed robbery and then be able to take out the evidence that you need. I don't think that should be the attitude at which we handle these things. An illegality is an illegality. That's why you don't even ban it.
Emmanuel,
you deal with it straight.
Emmanuel Kofi Amaboa has been gathering chiefs and seeking their buy-in in Cape Coast, and we suspect that is the mode he's going to take. How effective is that going to be?
I think that it is an important part of it. One.
Okay, so his line.
The things that we look up.
Okay. Your line is getting bad. Thank you very much for the input you have made so far. Ken Ashigbe is the one of the conveners of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. That is a new group, bigger than I think the one that he was leading first, the Media Coalition. Okay, now let me come to, because he was there. Yeah. Vera, wait, let's hear from him before you speak.
Well, I think
is President Mahama showing enough commitment?
I think there's no dispute or argument that we have to fight Galamsey with the force that we can muster. It's definitely not good for us. It represents an existential threat.
Are you tired talking about it?
Are you tired talking about it?
Because I'm sitting here looking at you. I've asked you this question too many times.
And I'm actually
you came under threat yourself and all.
I'm actually disappointed in the Ashanti Regional Minister.
Why?
You don't give criminals
2 weeks.
2 weeks or time to fold up. If someone defecates at your backyard and you get that fellow, you don't give that fellow time to... You order that person to take this thing away. I mean, you don't do that. I mean, when you do that, it shows weakness in you. The people will exploit that weakness. That's why I commend Professor Brown or Kluche when she went around ordering people to leave the forest reserves. And the president has already started implementing that.
Yeah, you're talking about the forestry forestry CEO that has just been appointed.
When we told Nana Akufo-Addo that it was not in our interest to give forest reserve for mining. It's definitely not. And I should reverse it. He refused. He refused. It was definitely not. How you came to that conclusion that we should mine forest reserve, I simply can't get it.
Remember that the underlining reason was national interest.
There's no national interest in mining forest.
They are going to mine, bring money, they'll pay taxes.
But you are killing your environment. You know what that means? You haven't done natural resource accounting. When you kill all those things, we'll import water into this country. We'll buy more air conditions into this country. You don't know the natural cooling effect of trees. I mean, you can't do that. So I think
we're criticizing that, and the Fourth Estate did a publication about it and told us about a member of parliament now. He was contesting, he won. Francis Owusu-Echao, who Dwaboso, he was sort of the person that was linked to several of the companies, over a dozen of them, helping them to do their registration and all of those things. We spoke about him. He has sued us that we shouldn't be talking. And you see, the people around this area, the least you say, they sue you.
Yeah, because they don't want you to expose them. Expose them. We must expose them. Now I say that if you engage in Galamsey and it comes to my attention, I'll mention your name. Because you are so greedy that you are polluting our water bodies. You are killing the future generation. And that you're doing it for your own selfish ends. And it's important that we don't get, and he said it, I'm commending the two. I said, Nana Akufo-Addo, when I chaired the second attempt by the president to fight Galamsey, I said, Mr. President, it's easy to fight Galamsey. Give your appointees key performance indicators, KPIs.
Imani Ghana, Kofi Bentil has been saying this, and my mind is just going back.
I said it.
It's been over a decade. They've been saying this. That sack the person if he doesn't perform.
The only
we know the solutions. We just are not.
The only way madmen will sit up is when you start arresting their compatriots. If gold makes people mad, start arresting them. Those who are mad by default.
Sika ye moja o.
What is Sika? I went to Chicheure. The Queen Mother told me when the 9 miners died in the pit. She said, yen na nanum. No munim says Sika koko ewo nsionu. But no omunko nsionu enko tu Sika koko. These were people who were not educated. They knew that their own survival.
They were enlightened.
They were enlightened, dependent on the preservation of the water bodies. And they knew that there was gold in the water bodies.
What should President Mahama be doing now?
Key performance independent. Number 1, key. Number 2, move swiftly. If you hear any information, dispatch your people. If it is true, arrest that person and punish that person.
Dispatch which people?
The security.
The security who have been complicit.
But you have gotten that information. So you are going to confirm that information. And arrest them. Punish them. I'm telling you, Mr. Mahama, if you are listening to us, if you punish 1, 2, or 3 people, Ghanaians, even though they need money.
The big fishes.
The big fishes.
But you never catch them.
You catch them. You catch them.
So let me give you one. In defense of...
Let's have not come in now.
Quickly, I'm adding to him.
Go ahead.
In defense of people like Erastus and yourself who get sued when they accuse people of Galamsey. Dear President...
Some we don't even accuse of Galamsey. We just show that they are involved in helping people to get licenses.
So I think when they do that, they out themselves. Anybody who sues anybody or attacks anybody on account of being exposed over Galamsey should be immediately investigated by the police. What I'm saying is, when they sue you, the police should take their case and investigate them because they have brought themselves out. That way, people will think twice before they have the effrontery to, because I believe you will be responsible in what you say. People like Erastus don't just talk anyhow. All right, and then they also come under some pressure. They do that to silence you, to cow you, to make you feel that, look, if I say this thing, they'll sue me. If for nothing at all, you have to be going to court.
It calls SLAP. So
yes,
strategic lawsuit against public participation.
So let's propose that to the government. Anybody who
also heard,
please,
when we investigate the person. When we won,
yes.
When we won, the NDC won. I hear like Dr. Kanashbe has said. People associated with the government immediately went and were engaged.
Yes.
They should be pursued.
Correct. Thank you. Yes.
So, Samson, I think it's no longer the illegal mining affecting us. Mining itself is causing a lot of issues to us. So when we just concentrate on the illegal miners and the Galamsey, we lose out on all the other. Those people have licenses and they are on their water bodies in the forest. My mother lost her cocoa farm to Galamsey because the person had licenses. She said, I won't give my land out.
You think this is so far away from us?
Yes. So she says, I will not give my cocoa farm. All the other farmers had given out. So you know what this people do? They start with a machine, and so they make your farm inaccessible. So then you get the chief coming to speak to her. I didn't know that.
Cocoa Board has been complaining about this, and they try to help.
Yes, we are losing our fresh water bodies. So for me, for President Mahama, there are lots of ongoing efforts. Ken and colleagues, the coalition is doing a lot, the media, citizens. It looks like now we are all ready. There are a lot of resources and support.
Organized labor chickened out at the last hour when they could get the most punitive, way to stop this.
Yes, so I think he has an opportunity now. We have an opportunity now to stop all. Let's treat this as urgent as we would treat agriculture, education, as health. Because from December 7 to February, we have about 2 months now. And I agree with Ken that action, we need an action. The directive is important, but as much as let's see the urgency in this, that we need to really stop all this. Not just the illegal man. We shouldn't just focus on the illegal. Those, like the panel have said, that they are already illegal miners. But those who have licenses and sitting on our water bodies and sitting in the forest, what do? Do we allow them and so we are just concentrating on the illegal miners? No, we can't just look at that. So the mining itself, the small scale mining, the issue about regulations and all of that, that. It's a big issue. So it's a threat to our cocoa. If my mother was going to leave me any cocoa farm, I should forget about it. I have to look at having to start something afresh, you know. So it's not really far from us. It's happening. It's really a big threat to us. And sometimes I think we need, it's a crisis. I think Kofi mentioned, it's really a national crisis, and we have to treat it as urgent as we are doing. And I think that we have to continue talking about it. And I'm glad that multimedia, you haven't stopped doing this. It's been on the agenda all this while, and we have to keep talking about it and whatever support. So President Mahama should know that there's a coalition working. There are a lot of support in the system. So I don't think the minister should go start anything afresh. There are a lot of information in the system. Yeah. There's a lot of ongoing effort. No new, yes, we know, they know them. So no new action and other things to go start a whole process again. Let's pick up from where the reporters, investors has a lot of information, other media, they go to the communities, the chiefs, they know them. We all know the people doing it. In fact, they are not even hiding something. That is the issue. If you look at the investors report, in the plain sight, people are mining. They are there. So I really think we have to do something about it.
And they have the gut to threaten him and his family.
There's this thing we need to know. The fact that you have been given a mining lease doesn't make your operation legal.
Legal, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to get that understanding.
Yes.
Because if you do not adhere to the
conditions and terms
the terms and environmental safeguards, you are clearly doing an illegal activity.
Right.
So this definition of illegal mining should not be limited to only those without mining license.
Yeah, I agree.
It should be broadened to include all those who mine without following the
chiefs, the traditional council in Aworim, the chief accused the MP. Then the MP turns around to accuse the chief, who is leading the accusation. Difficult thing to fight. Thank you so very much. My outfit, as always, is by Konati Clothing. You can find Konati Clothing at Adenta Shopping Center or Adenta Shopping Mall, Adenta Down. You can call them 0244 676732, 0244 676732. Konati Clothing. What you wear counts. And very thankful to Kofi Bento with Imani Africa, and he's also a lawyer. Today, was it another lawyer's file? Oh, there were two lawyers. He also has a degree in law. How are you going to avoid this lawyer's thing?
Let me use this opportunity actually to thank Samson. I didn't want to do it here, but unfortunately I'm taking him off guard. He assisted me greatly during my...
Samson is a good man.
No, we don't do that on his file. We don't do that on his file. Thank you.
I mean, they can bring me the receipt.
Thank you. Dr. Kabiru Tia Mahama.
You don't know that I attended the same secondary school.
Okay.
Old boy.
Okay.
Old boy.
So Vera, thank you very much from the CDD and Yunus Afuseni. As always, thank you so very much. Yeah. Have a good afternoon. This has been Newsfile. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini.